How's it going? Hello. Hello, hello. Morning. Oh yeah, this I think this is a band shirt that Secret Husband got at a concert some time ago. I just, I don't fit in a lot of my clothes right now, stuff like that. Morning. Good morning. I finally made a live, not caught up, but I wanted to join so I actually can. Oh, good. Well, all of the episodes are up, so you can always catch up after, and it's usually pretty, yeah, right, Brittany. It's usually, you can usually kind of catch what's going on, luckily with this one. We're at 74% on this book, though, so we'll be done with this book pretty soon, which I'm not mad about. It's pretty nice. Pretty nice, if I do say so myself. I saw sugar-free Chobani creamer. Really? That must be new. I'm not familiar with that one. Just making coffee. Just making my coffee like I do every morning. No funny business. Just coffee for me and Secret Husband. It is new. Yeah, that's what I thought. I was going to say I haven't heard of that. That's news to me. Good morning, Liz. Good morning, good morning. How's everyone feeling? The Supreme Court did us dirty this morning. My favorite Chobani brand, limited ingredients. Yeah, that makes sense to me, Amanda. It sounds totally brand new. There is a Khalifa oat milk creamer that's sugar-free that's actually really good also. Unfortunately, it is a bit pricier, which doesn't vibe well for how much I use, but it is tasty. I will tell you that. So, how's everyone feeling? It's Friday, right? Is it Friday? I think it's Friday. Pretty sure it's Friday. All the days run together for me. My job's the same no matter what day it is, right? I'm very pregnant. I'm a medium amount of at least 3.5 days pregnant. Yeah. I was lucky enough to find out at 1.5 days, so, I feel like I'm really in it now. Yeah. I also think it's Friday. I believe it to be Friday. It's Friday. Something Friday. I'm not happy about the decision. I feel like I know, Sloth, listen. I know. I feel like we just get hit after hit after hit. That's what it feels like, to be honest. It's a loss that a lot of people don't understand. I have to tell you guys, this morning, well, let me put these away first and I'll tell you what I've been thinking. I've been thinking a lot. Oh yeah, they unanimously voted against TikTok. Unanimously. It wasn't even a competition. And the thing that's really been hitting me, like obviously my lack of income is going to be a struggle and things like that, but kind of almost more than that, the idea of going through my first phase of postpartum without like the connection and the information and all that stuff has really been hitting me, because the community is very useful in situations like that, and I think that it promotes understanding and knowledge, and taking that away from people, I think I think it's a mistake, obviously, but like, I'm sad. Yeah, of course, Jen, I agree. You know, I agree. But like, I know, Noah. We connect at other places? That's the goal. If everyone finds me on YouTube, I'll find you all. Yeah, but to what end, Stephanie? You know what I mean? Yeah, the sense of community. That's what I'm saying. And like all the things that we learn here, like, I don't know, you guys. It's just, wow, I did not make enough milk, not by far. You're already isolated when you're postpartum, so having that community, I think it promotes mental health. I really do. I really, really do. And I think taking that away is to the detriment of a lot of people. Of course it is, Jen. Of course it is. Yeah. 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 It's a huge loss, I think. Losing friends. I know. I know. I know. I know. And like, I'm not trying to like be annoying about it, but like I have so many people, and they mean well, who are like, oh, you should take more than a month off with the baby, things like that. And it's like, well, with the loss of the income from TikTok, that's definitely not going to be possible. Like, let's be real, you guys. Like, it was already tenuous with the extra income from TikTok, but without it, I am also surprised it was unanimous. I'm not surprised they did it, but I am surprised it was unanimous. That feels like a slap in the face, you know? It's weird. It's weird to me. It's very weird. My heart today is also with all of the single and stay-at-home moms who don't have other sources of income. My heart is with them today, or any person, not just moms, but like, I guess because I'm thinking about the postpartum community, it's gonna be bad. People are gonna suffer in a lot of ways. TikTok was impossibly helpful, Jen. Impossibly helpful. When I was lobbying for laws in CT, I realized very quickly it's all about of course, Krista, you're 100% right. No question. You're 100% correct. I just, yeah, the mental health part is the part that is the saddest to me going into having my first child. I was really expecting to be able to like continue connecting with people who are giving birth at the same time and things like that. I think people underestimate how powerful that can be, and also to be able to ask questions, and sharing experiences. It helps. It really does. I've learned so much. There are so many things that I think would have scared me in this pregnancy had I not had other people who had just been through it right before me to look at and go, oh, I'm not unusual. That's totally normal. Look, it's happening to everybody. You know what I mean? Like, that gives you this sense of calm in a way. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, absolutely. It's 100% a happiness dump a lot of the times. I completely agree. Yeah. And a sense of just like normalcy, it is very grounding. That's a great word for it. Yeah, lots of friends. I mean, I'm gonna spend some time today trying to find everybody that I can on YouTube, but it's hard, you know what I mean? Because not everyone has the same username on YouTube and things like that. It's difficult. I'm not gonna lie. That's why, like, you guys might have noticed I've been posting every single day with my YouTube name on my story. It's not because I'm trying to hit people over the head with it. It's just to make sure that something remains. I don't know. I have no answers, obviously. Zero answers. It's a bummer. It's a big old bummer. But yeah, the unanimous thing did take me by surprise. Them upholding the law didn't so much take me by surprise, but the unanimous thing definitely took me by surprise. I listened to parts of the case, and that was not how it felt like it was gonna go. I thought that there would be at least some dissent, and there was none. That surprised me. I was like, wow, not even one. Not even one. Weird. Weird, you guys. It's a weird time to be here. I know, Roxy. Tell me about it. Tell me about it. I don't even know what to say. Tell me about that. Yeah, it's a big fear. The fact that there was no dissent was like a little sus, but also eye-opening. Yeah. And I'm not gonna lie, Biden just kicking the can down the road a couple of days didn't really do us a whole lot of favors. I'm not really sure what he thought he was doing there or what the administration thought they were doing there, but like, thanks guys. That's like someone coming to you and telling you they have a broken leg and being like, I have some Band-Aids. It's like, oh, thanks. Yeah, Ray, I'll be doing these same book club lives on YouTube. He had the same chance that TRUMP has to do the 90-day extension, Amanda. So I don't know if that's really true. He had the same chance. They had the exact same executive order options presented. He just opted not to take it. And when you're on your way out the door, I don't really understand why you wouldn't just like help people a little bit, you know? I really don't understand. Yeah, no, apparently not, Amanda. The lawyers on here are saying he had the same options. Yeah, a sticker that looks like a Band-Aid. Yeah, that's exactly correct. It's a sticker that looks like a Band-Aid. Yes. That's a very good way of putting it. It's not even a real Band-Aid. There's not even any gauze. It is a sticker that looks like a Band-Aid. Yeah, so anyway, I will, starting, I guess, Wednesday, I guess, or Thursday. I don't know when the 36-hour mark is. We'll figure it out. Whatever day it is, I'll be on YouTube. He can... Well, no, he cannot reverse it, Sloth. He can just extend it. He has the I know better than you, I really do attitude. Yeah, it's very unfortunate. You know what I have to say? Yeah, he can say they won't enforce it, but he can't reverse it. That's exactly right. So this is something that Secret Husband and I have been talking about a lot that I think is a huge detriment to the country as a whole, which is that on the heels of the Democrats leaving office, they are doing a lot of things that will not endear them to the people for the coming times. The fires and their response to the fires here in LA is a big one of those. California is full of Democrats, and it's full of Democrats with a lot of money, and doing the things that they're doing right now and taking away those people's chance to rebuild their homes. I'm scared for what that means for the next round of voting, both in 2 years and in 4 years, because the people here in LA have a lot of money and they've just lost their homes. Maybe you could have given a little grace to them in this time, but no, we're gonna take away permitting and stuff. Cool. Yikes. You know, so that worries me. So yeah, it's all concerning on a lot of fronts. They are making some very poor decisions across the board, but we are here to read. So things going on with insurance and so it's so sad. It's mind-boggling, the things that they're doing, and it's like, you really think that these people with all this money are going to support you after you take away their home and don't give them a chance to rebuild it? I don't think the fires are any human's fault, but the response to the fire is a human's fault, you know? So that's just my 2 cents on it. It's a concern. It's a big concern for me, but we're gonna read because that's why we're here. Book club will resume on YouTube when TikTok goes down. So if one day 8:30 hits, well, that's true. I mean, yes, Liz, I didn't mean in like, it wasn't like a arson or anything like that, but you're right. Yes, because of them not paying attention to climate change and things like that, it absolutely is a human's fault. I just meant in the more immediate. It's not like someone lit a match and threw it on the Pacific Palisades or anything like that. But yes, you are correct. It is a human's fault. But like in a different way. I think some of it was arson, but I mean, fires pop up here all the time, Liz. It's just, I don't know. It's so dry. You guys would be shocked. People who don't live here, I think they don't realize how, you guys would be shocked. People who don't live here, I think they don't realize how dry it really is here. And up in the Palisades, it's all dry brush. We used to go hiking up there before I was pregnant. It's a tinderbox. So the littlest thing can just ignite it like crazy. It's real dry up there. I think people think because the Palisades are along the water that it's moist. Sorry for the word, but it's not at all. It's very dry there. The Santa Monica Mountains, where the Palisades are, is where we would go hiking, and flowers barely bloom. You know what I mean? So okay, so anyway, if one day comes and it's 8:30 a.m. and you don't see me live here because TikTok has gone down, assume I'm on YouTube. So just make that assumption in your head. All right, so we are reading Princess Diaries Volume 2, Princess in the Spotlight, and we are at 74%. There's no chapters, so that's how we're, going through it here. More Thursday, October 30th. 9 p.m. Wow, Mr. Gianni is all moved in. I have already played 9 games of foosball, and boy, are my wrists tired. It's not really weird having him here on a permanent basis because he was like always hanging around anyway. The only difference really is the big TV, the pinball machine, the foosball table, and well, the drum set up in the corner where Mom normally keeps the life-size metallic gold bust of Elvis. But the coolest thing is honestly the pinball machine. It's called Motorcycle Gang, and it has all these very realistic drawings of tattooed leather-wearing Hell's Angels on it, and it has pictures of the Hell's Angels girlfriends who don't even have very much clothing at all, and they're all bending over and sticking out their bosoms, and when you sink a ball in the pinball machine, it makes this noise of a motorcycle revving its engine really loud. My mother took one look at it, and she just stood there shaking her head. I know it's misogynistic and sexist and all, but it's also like kind of really neat. Mr. Gianni told me today that he thought it would be all right for me to call him Frank now, considering the fact that we're practically related, but I just can't bring myself to call him that. So I just call him, hey. I go like, hey, can you pass me the Parmesan? Or like, hey, have you seen the remote control? See, no names. See, I thought it was pretty clever, huh? Of course, it hasn't exactly been smooth sailing. There's the small fact that tomorrow there's supposed to be this huge celebrity wedding that I don't know why it hasn't been canceled, and I also know that my mother still hasn't the slightest intention of attending this thing. But when I ask her about it, instead of freaking out, my mom just smiles all secretly and says, "Oh, don't worry, Mia." But how can I help worrying about it? The only thing that is definitely off is my mom and Mr. G's trip to the courthouse. I asked if they still wanted me to come dressed as the Empire State Building, thinking that I should probably work on my costume and all that, because my mom just got this furtive look in her eyes and said, "Why don't we hold off on that?" I could kind of tell she didn't want to talk about it, so I clammed up and I went and I called Lily. I figured it was about time she gave me some explanation as to what is going on here. But when I called her, the line was busy, which meant there's a good chance that Lily or Michael was online. I took a gamble and I instant messaged Lily, and she wrote back right away. This is the conversation. Me. "Lily, where did you and Hank disappear to today? And don't lie and tell me that you weren't together." Women rule, Lily. I failed to see what business... Sorry, wrong accent. "I fail to see what business that is of yours." Me. "Well, let's just say that if you want to hang on to your boyfriend, you better come up with a good explanation." "I have a very good explanation, but I'm not likely to share it with you. You'll just blab it to Beverly Bellavia. Oh, and 22 million other viewers." That is so totally unfair. Look, Lily, I'm worried about you. It isn't like you to skip school. What about your book about high school society? You may have missed out on some valuable information for it. Oh, really? Did something totally worth recording happen? Well, some of the seniors snuck into the teacher's lounge and put a fetal pig in the mini fridge. Oh my gosh, I'm sorry I missed that. Is there anything else, Mia? Because right now I'm trying to research something on the web. Yes. There was something else, but she did not know how wrong it was to be... Didn't she know how wrong it was to be seeing two boys at the same time, especially when some of us don't even have one boy? Couldn't she see how selfish and mean-spirited that was? But I didn't write that. Instead, what I wrote was, "Well, Boris was pretty upset, Lily. I mean, like, he totally suspects something. Boris has got to learn that in a loving relationship, it's important to establish bonds of trust. That is something you might keep in mind yourself, Mia." I realize, of course, that Lily is talking about our relationship, hers and mine. But if you think about it, it applies to more than just Lily and Boris and Lily and me. It applies to me and my dad, too. And me and my mom. And me and, well, just about everyone. Was this, I wondered, a profound moment? Should I get out my English journal? It was right after this that it happened. I got an instant message from somebody else. Josie Rocks himself. Josie Rocks. "So, hey, are you going to Rocky Horror tomorrow?" Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. Josie Rocks is going to Rocky Horror tomorrow. And so is Michael. Really, there's only one logical explanation that can be drawn from this. Josie Rocks is Michael. Michael is Josie Rocks. He has to be. He just has to be. Right? I didn't know what to do. I wanted to jump up from my computer and run around my room and scream and laugh all at the same time. But instead, I don't know where I got the presence of mind to do this, but I just wrote back, "I hope so." I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. Michael is Josie Rocks, right? Like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? Friday, October 31st. Homeroom. I woke with the strangest feeling of foreboding. I couldn't figure out why for a few minutes. I just laid there in bed, listening to the rain pattering against my window. Fat Louie was at the end of my bed, needing the comforter and purring very loudly. And then I remembered, today, according to my grandmother, is the day that my pregnant mother is supposed to marry my algebra teacher in a huge ceremony at the Plaza Hotel with musical accompaniment courtesy of David Hasselhoff. I laid there for a few minutes, wishing that my temperature was 102 again so I wouldn't have to get out of bed and face what was sure to be a day of drama and hurt feelings. And then I remembered my email from the night before, and I jumped right out of bed. Michael is my secret admirer. Michael is Josie Rocks, and with any luck by the end of the night, he'll have to admit it to my face. Friday, October 31st. Algebra. Mr. Gianni is not here today. Instead, we have a substitute teacher named Miss Krakowski. It's very strange that Mr. G isn't here because he was certainly in the loft this morning. We played a game of foosball before Lars showed up in the limo. We even offered Mr. G a ride to school, but he said he was coming in later.
really later, it looks like. A lot of people aren't here today, actually. Michael, for instance, didn't catch a ride with us this morning. Lily says that's because he has last-minute problems printing out a paper that was due today. But I wonder if it's really because he's too scared to face me after admitting that he's Josie Rocks. Well, not that he actually admitted it, but like he sort of did. Didn't he? Mr. Howell is 3 times as old as Gilligan. The difference in their ages is 48. How old are Mr. Howell and Gilligan? T equals Gilligan. 3t equals Mr. Howell. 3t minus t equals 48. 2t equals 48. T equals 24. Oh, Mr. G, where are you? I gotta tell you guys, I don't care how old Gilligan and Mr. Howell are. Friday, October 31st. Gifted and talented. Okay. I will never underestimate Lily Moskovitz again, nor will I suspect her of having anything but the most altruistic motives. I hereby solemnly swear in writing. It was at lunch when it happened. We were all sitting there. Me, my bodyguard, Tina Hakim Baba and her bodyguard, Lily, Boris, Shamika, and Ling Su. Michael, of course, sits over with the rest of the computer club, so he wasn't there, but everyone else who matters was there. Shamika was reading aloud to us from brochures that her father had gotten from an all-girls school in New Hampshire. Each one filled Shamika with more terror and me with more shame for having opened my big mouth in the first place. And suddenly, a shadow fell over our table, and we looked up, and there stood an apparition of a godlike stature for a minute, and I think even Lily believed that the chosen people's long-lost Messiah had finally shown up. It turned out, well, it was only Hank, but Hank looking as I had certainly never seen him before. He had on a black cashmere sweater beneath a clinging black leather coat and black jeans that seemed to go on and on over his very long and lean legs. His golden hair had been expertly styled and cut. I swear, he looked so much like Keanu Reeves in The Matrix that I might actually have believed that he wandered off the set if it hadn't been for the fact that he wore cowboy boots. Black, expensive looking ones, but like cowboy boots just the same. I don't think it was my imagination that the entire crowd inside the cafeteria seemed to gasp as Hank slid into the chair at our table, the reject table I frequently heard it called. Hold on. Allow me, Hank said, and I stared at him. It wasn't just the clothes. There was something different about him. Like his voice was somehow deeper, and he smelled good. So, Lily said to him as she scooped up a glob of creamy filling from her ring ding, how did it go? Well, Hank said in that same deep voice. You're looking at Calvin Klein. Wrong voice. Come on, Sasha. Well, bless her heart. Well, Hank said in that same deep voice. You're looking at Calvin Klein's newest underwear model. Nope. Why can't I do Southern all of a sudden? What is wrong with me? Guys, book club's not going away. These comments are making me think you guys think that book club is going away. We're just moving it to a different platform if TikTok gets banned. We'll be on YouTube, but I'm still going to have book club every morning. So don't worry that it's not going to happen. We're still going to be reading every morning. But I need to figure out how to do a Southern accent real quick. Well, bless her heart. You're looking at Calvin Klein's newest underwear model. Lily sucked in the filling off her fingers. She said with her mouth full. Well, good for you. And I owe it all to you, Lily, Hank said. If it weren't for you, they never would have signed me. And then it hit me. The reason Hank seemed so different was that his Hoosier drawl was gone. Now, Hank, Lily said, why can't I go back and forth between these accents right now? My brain is like not doing it. Now, Hank, Lily said, we discussed this. It's your natural ability that got you where you are. I just gave you a few pointers. And when Hank turned his gaze towards me, I saw that his sky blue eyes were damp. Your friend Lily, he said, has done something no one has ever done for me in my life. I threw an accusing gaze at Lily. I knew it. I knew that they had had sex. But then Hank said, "She believed in me, Mia. Believed in me enough to help me pursue my dream. A dream that I've had since I was very young. And boy, a lot of people, including my mama and my grandparents, told me that it was a pipe dream. They told me to give it up and that it would never happen. But when I told my dream to Lily, she held out her hand." Hank held out his hand to illustrate to all of us what she had done. Me, Lars, Tina, Tina's bodyguard, Wahim, Shamika, and Ling Su. We all looked at the hand, the nails of which had been perfectly manicured. And she said, "Come with me, Hank. I'll help you achieve those dreams." And Hank put down his hand. And do you know what? All of us except for Lily, who went right on eating, were so astonished we could only stare. Hank did not wait for us to reply. He said, "It happened today. It happened, and my dream came true. I was signed by Ford. I am their newest male model." We all blinked at him. "And I owe it all," Hank said, "to this woman here." And then something really shocking happened. Hank got up out of his chair, walked over to where Lily was sitting, innocently finishing her ring ding, not suspecting a thing, and pulled her to a standing position. And then everyone in the entire cafeteria was looking on, including, I noticed, Lana Weinberger and all her cronies over at the cheerleaders table. My cousin Hank then laid such a kiss on Lily Moskovitz that I thought he might suck that ring ding right back up out of her throat. And when he was done kissing her, Hank let go. And Lily looked as if someone had just poked her with an electric rod, and she sank back down into her seat. Hank adjusted the lapels on his leather coat, and then he turned to me. "Mia," he said, "tell Mama and Papa that they're going to have to find somebody else to cover my shift at the hardware store. I'm not going back to Versailles, ever." And with that, he strode from our cafeteria like a cowboy walking from a gunfight that he had just won. Or I should say, he started to stride from the cafeteria, but unfortunately for Hank, he didn't make it quite fast enough, because one of the people who had observed that searing kiss that he laid on Lily was none other than Boris Pulowski. And it was Boris Pulowski with his retainer and his tucked-in sweater and pants, who said, "Not so fast, hotshot." I'm not sure if Boris had just seen the movie Top Gun or what, but that hot shot came out sounding kind of menacing considering Boris's accent and all. And Hank kept going. I don't know if he didn't hear Boris or if he just wasn't about to let some little violin-playing genius mess up his great exit. And then Boris did something completely reckless. He reached out and he grabbed Hank by the arm as he went, and he said, "That is my girl you had your lips all over, pretty boy." I'm not even joking. Those were his exact words. Oh, my heart thrilled to hear them. If only some guy, specifically Michael, would say something like that about me. Not the josiest girl he'd ever met, but his girl. Boris had actually referred to Lily as his girl. No boy had ever referred to me as his girl. Oh, I know all about feminism and how women aren't property and sexism goes around claiming them as such, but if somebody, Michael specifically, would say I was his girl. Anyway, Hank just went, "Huh?" And then, from out of nowhere, Boris' fist went sailing into Hank's face. Pow! Only it didn't really sound like pow, it sounded more like thud. And there was the sickening crunch of bones splintering. All of us girls gasped, thinking that Boris had marred Hank's perfect cover guy face, but we needn't have worried. It was Boris's hand that made the crunching sound, not Hank's face. Hank escaped completely unscathed. Boris is the one who had to have his knuckles splinted. And you know what that means, don't you? No more Mahler. Whoopee! I know, it's unprincess-like of me, however, to gloat over someone's misfortune. Friday, October 31st. French. I borrowed Lars's cell phone and called the Soho Gram between lunch and fifth period. I figured that someone should let Mama and Papa know that Hank was all right. Well, he was a Ford model, but he was all right. And Mama must have been sitting there by the phone because she picked it up on the first ring. "Clarice," she said, "I still haven't heard from them," which is weird because Clarice is Gramir's name. Mama," I said, it's me, Mia." "Oh, Mia," Mama laughed a little. "I'm sorry, honey. I thought that you were the princess. The dowager princess, your other grandma." And I went, yeah, well, it's not. It's me. And I'm just calling to tell you that I heard from Hank finally. And Mima shrieked so loud that I had to hold the cell phone away from my ear. Well, where is he? She yelled. You tell him from me that when I get my hands on him, he's... Mama, I cried. It was kind of embarrassing because all sorts of people in the hallway could hear her yelling and they were looking at me. And I tried to make myself inconspicuous by hunching down and hiding behind Lars. Mama, I said, he got a contract with Ford Models Inc. He's the newest Calvin Klein underwear model and he's going to be a big celebrity. Like, underwear? Mima yelled. Mia, you tell that boy he better call me right now. Well, I can't really do that, Mama, I said, on the count of the fact that right now, Mama repeated, or he is in big trouble. I said, the bell was ringing anyway. Okay, Mama, is the, wedding still on? The what? The wedding, I said, wishing that I could just for once be a normal girl who did not have to go around asking people if a royal marriage of her pregnant mother and her algebra teacher was still on. Well, of course it is still on, Mama said. What do you think? Oh, I said, you, talked to my mom? Of course I did, Mama said. Everything is set. Really? I was immensely surprised. I could not picture my mother going along with this thing, not in a million years. And Mom said she'd be there? Well, of course she'll be there, Mama said. It's her wedding, isn't it? Well, sort of, I guess. I didn't say that to Mama, of course. I said, sure, and then hung up, feeling crushed. For entirely selfish reasons, too, I have to confess. I was a little bit sad for my mom, I guess, since she really did try to put up a resistance against Gramnir. I mean, she really had tried. It wasn't her fault, of course, that she'd been going up against such an inexorable force, but I mostly felt sad for myself. I could never escape in time for Rocky Horror. Never, never, never. I mean, I know the movie doesn't start until midnight, and the wedding reception will last way longer than that. And who knows if Michael will ever ask me out again. I mean, not once today has he acknowledged that he is in fact Josie Rocks, nor has he mentioned Rocky Horror. Not once. Not even so much as to refer to Rachel Lee Cook. And we talked at length during G&T. At length. That is on account of how some of us who saw last year's groundbreaking episode of Lily Tells It Like It Is were understandably confused by Lily helping Hank realize his dream of being a supermodel and having stardom. The segment was titled, Yes, You as an Individual Can Bring Down the Sexist, Racist, Ageist, and Sizist Modeling Industry by criticizing ads that demonize women and limit our ideals of beauty, and finding ways to make your protest known as companies advertised, and letting the media know that you want to see more varied and realistic images of women in them. Also, Lily urged us to challenge men who judge, choose, and discard women on the basis of appearance. The following exchange took place during Gifted and Talented. Mrs. Hill was returned to the teacher's lounge permanently. One can only hope. And included Michael Moskowitz, who, as you will see, did not once mention Josie Rocks or Rocky Horror. It went like this. Me. Hey, Lily, I thought you found the modeling industry as a whole sexist, racist, and belittling to the human race. Lily. So, what's your point? Me. Well, according to Hank, you helped him realize his dream of becoming a model. Lily. Mia. When I recognize a human soul crying out for self-actualization, I am powerless to stop myself. I must do what I can to see that that person's dream is realized. Gee, I haven't noticed Lily doing all that much to help me realize my dream of French kissing her brother, but then again, on the other hand, I haven't exactly made that dream known to her. Me. Lily, I hadn't noticed that you had a real foothold in the modeling industry. Lily, I don't. I merely taught your cousin how to make the most of his God-given talents. Some simple lessons in elocution and fashion, and he was well on his way to landing that contract with Ford. Well, why did it have to be such a big secret? Do you have any idea how fragile the male ego is? This is where Michael broke in. Michael, hey. Lily, I'm sorry, but it's true. Hank's self-esteem had already been reduced to nothing thanks to Amber, the corn queen of the Versailles County. I couldn't allow any negative comments to ruin what little self-confidence he had left. You know how fatalistic boys can be. Michael, hey! Lily, it was vital that Hank be allowed to pursue his dream without the slightest fatalistic influence. Otherwise, I knew he did not stand a chance, and so I kept our plan a secret from those who I cared about the most. Any one of you, without consciously meaning to, might have torpedoed Hank's chances with the most casual of comments. Me, come on, we totally would have been supportive. Lily, Mia, think about it. If Hank had said to you, Mia, I want to be a model. What would you have done? Come on, you would have laughed at him. No, I wouldn't have. Yeah, you would have, because you think that Hank is your whiny, allergy-prone cousin from the boondocks who doesn't even know what a bagel is. But I, you see, was able to look beyond that to the man that Hank has the potential to become. Michael, yeah, a man who's destined to have his own pinup calendar. Lily, you, Michael, are just jealous. Michael, oh yeah, I've always wanted a big picture of myself in my underwear hanging up in Times Square. Actually, I think that's something that I would really enjoy seeing, but Michael, of course, was being sarcastic. He went on. You know, Lil, I highly doubt Mom and Dad are going to be so impressed by your tremendous act of charity that they're going to overlook the fact that you skipped school to do it, especially when they find out that you got detention next week because of it. Lily, looking long-suffering. The most elementary, wait, what is this word? The most ilmansary, I've never heard this word before. Elimonsary, Arafin Madad. And that was it. That was all he said to me all day. Note to self, look up Ilmansary. Yeah, same, look up Ilmansary. Possible reasons that Michael won't admit that he is Josie Rocks. Number 1, he really is too shy to reveal his true feelings to me. Number 2, he thinks I don't feel the same way about him. Number 3, he changed his mind and he doesn't like me like that after all. Number 4, he doesn't want to have to bear the social stigma of dating a freshman and he's just waiting until I'm a sophomore before asking me out, except that by then he'll be a freshman in college and he won't want to bear the stigma of dating a high school girl. Number 5, he isn't Josie Rocks at all, and it turns out I'm obsessing about something by writing about the guy from the cafeteria who just thinks about corn. Homework. Algebra, none. Mr. G wasn't there. English, finished day in the life, plus profound moment. World Civ, read and analyze one current event from the Sunday Times, 200-word minimum. Gifted and talented, don't forget to bring $1. French, page 120, 8 phrases, example A. Biology, questions at the end of chapter 12. Get the answers from Kenny. English journal, A Day in My Life by Mia Thermopolis. I chose to write about last night instead. I hope that's okay, Mrs. Spears. Friday, October 31st, 3:16 p.m. Arrived home at Soho Loft with bodyguard Lars. Find it ostensibly empty. Decided mother probably napping, something she does a lot these days. 3:18 p.m. to 3:45 p.m. Play foosball with bodyguard. Win 3 out of 12 games. Decide to practice foosball in spare time. 3:50 p.m. Curious as to why riotous games of foosball, not to mention incredibly loud pinball machine, have not awakened mother from nap. Knock gently on bedroom door. Stand there hoping that the door does not open to reveal a view of my mother actually sharing a bed with my algebra teacher. 3:51 p.m. Knock louder. Decide perhaps cannot hear due to the intense lovemaking session going on, and I sincerely hope I will not be inadvertently witnessing any nakedness. 3:52 p.m. After receiving no response to my knock, I go into my mother's bedroom. No one is there. Oh. Check of mother's bathroom reveals crucial items such as mascara, lipstick, and a bottle of folic acid tablets are missing from the medicine cabinet. Begin to suspect something is afoot. 3:55 p.m. Phone rings. I answer it. It's my father. Following conversation ensues. Me. Dad, Mom's missing, and so is Mr. Gianni. He didn't even come to school today. Father. You still call him Mr. Gianni even though he lives with you? Me. Dad, where are they? Father. Don't worry about it. Me. That woman is carrying my last chance at having a sibling. How can I not worry about her? Father. Everything is under control, Mia. How am I supposed to believe that? Because I said so. Dad, I think that you should know I have some very serious trust issues concerning you. Father. How come? Well, part of it might be the fact that up until about a month ago you lied to me for my entire life about who you are and what you do for a living. Father. Oh. So just tell me, where is my mother? Well, she left you a letter, and you can have it at 8 o'clock. Dad, 8 o'clock is when the wedding is supposed to start. I'm aware of that, Mia. Dad, you can't do this to me. What am I supposed to tell? Philippe, is everything all right? Who is that? Who is that, Dad? Is that Beverly Bellavere? I'll have to go now, Mia. No, Dad, wait. Click. 4 p.m. to 4:15 p.m. Tear apartment apart, look for clues as to where mother might have disappeared to, find no clues. 4:20 p.m. Phone rings, paternal grandmother on the line, request to know if mother and I are ready for a trip to the salon for a beauty makeover. Inform her that mother has left already. Well, that's the truth, isn't it? And grandmother is suspicious. I inform her that if she has any questions to consult with her son, my father. Grandmother says that she fully intends to do so, and also says a limo will be by at 5 o'clock to pick me up. 5 p.m. Limo pulls up. Bodyguard and I get inside. Inside is paternal grandmother, here also known as Grandmere, and maternal grandmother, here thereafter known as Meemaw. And Meemaw is very excited about the upcoming nuptials, though excitement is somewhat dampened by cousin's desertion to become a male model. Grandmere, on the other hand, is mysteriously calm. Says son, my father, has informed her that the bride has decided to make her own hair and makeup plans. Remembering the missing folic acid tablets, I say nothing. 5:20. Enter Chez Paolo. 6:45. Emerge from Chez Paolo, amazed at the difference that Paolo has made with Meemaw's hair. She no longer resembles the mom in a John Hughes film, but a member of an upscale country club. 7 p.m. Arrive at the plaza. Father attributes bride's absence to her desire to nap before the ceremony. When I surreptitiously force Lars to call home on his cell phone, however, no one answers. 7:15. It begins to rain again. Meemaw observes that the rain on a wedding day is bad luck. Grandmere says no, it's pearls that are bad luck. Meemaw says no, it's rain. First sign of division within formerly united ranks of grandmothers. 7:30 p.m. I am ushered into a little chamber just off the white and gold room where I sit with the other bridesmaids, supermodels Giselle, Carmen Cass, and Amber Valletta, whom Grandmere has hired due to the fact that my mother refused to supply her with a list of her own bridesmaids. I have changed into my beautiful pink dress and matching shoes. 7:40 p.m. None of the other bridesmaids will talk to me except to comment about how I look so sweet. All they can talk about is the party they went to last night where someone threw up on Claudia Schiffer's shoes. 7:45 p.m. Guests begin to arrive. I fail to recognize my maternal grandfather without his baseball cap. He looks quite spry in a tux, a little like an elderly Matt Damon, actually. 7:47 p.m. Two people arrive who claim to be parents of the groom, Mr. Gianni's parents from Long Island. Mr. Gianni Sr. calls Vigo Bucko, and Vigo looks delighted by this. 7:48 p.m. Martha Stewart stands near the door chatting with Donald Trump about Manhattan real estate. She can't find a building with a co-op board that will let her keep pet chinchillas. 7:50 p.m. David Hasselhoff has cut his hair. I almost don't recognize him. He looks faintly babe-like. The Queen of Sweden asks him if he's friends of the bride or groom. Says groom for some inexplicable reason, although I happen to know from having looked through Mr. Gianni's CD that he owns nothing but Rolling Stones and a little bit of The Who. 7:55 p.m. Everyone goes quiet as David Hasselhoff sits down at a baby grand, and I pray that my mother is in a different hemisphere and cannot see or hear this. 8 p.m. Everyone waits expectantly. I demand that my father, who has joined me and the supermodels, give me the letter from my mother. Dad surrenders letter. 8:01. I read the letter. 8:02. I have to sit down. 8:05. Grandmere and Vigo, deep in consultation. They seem to have realized that neither the bride nor the groom have shown up. 8:07. Amber Valletta whispers that if we don't move on, she's going to be late for a dinner engagement with Hugh Grant. 8:10 p.m. A hush falls over the guests as my father looks excessively princely in his tux, despite his bald head, and strides to the front of the white and gold room, and David Hasselhoff stops playing. 8:11 p.m. My father makes the following announcement. I want to thank you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules to come here tonight. Unfortunately, the wedding between Helen Thermopolis and Frank Gianni will not take place. At least not this evening. The happy couple have given us the slip, and this morning they flew to Cancun, where I understand they plan to be married by a justice of the peace. A shriek is heard from the far side of the baby grand, but it does not appear to have come from David Hasselhoff, but rather from Grandmere. You are all, of course, urged to join us in the grand ballroom for dinner. Thank you so much again for coming. Father strides off. Bewildered guests gather their belongings and go in search of cocktails. No sound whatsoever is heard from behind the baby grand. Me, to no one in particular. Mexico? They must be crazy. If my mother drinks that water, my future brother or sister is going to be born with flippers for feet. Amber, oh, don't worry. My friend Heather got pregnant in Mexico and she drank the water and she just gave birth to twins. And they had dorsal fins coming out of their backs, didn't they? I said. 8:20 p.m. David Hasselhoff begins to play, at least until Grandmere barks, "Oh, shut up!" What the letter from my mother says follows. Dear Mia, By the time you read this, Frank and I will be married. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you sooner, but when your grandmother asks if you knew, and she will ask you, I wanted to be sure that you could say truthfully that you didn't, so there won't be any ill feelings between the two of you. Ill feelings between Granmere and me? Who does she think she's kidding? There's nothing but ill feelings between us, as far as I'm concerned anyway. The letter continues. More than anything, Frank and I wanted you to be there for our wedding, so we've decided that when we get back we're going to have another ceremony. This one will be kept strictly secret and very private, with just our little family and friends. Well, that certainly should be interesting. Most of my mom's friends are militant feminists or performance artists. One of them likes to stand up on the stage and pour chocolate syrup all over her naked body while she recites poetry. I wonder how they're going to get along with Mr. G's friends, who I understand like to watch a lot of sports. You have been a tower of strength during this crazy time, Mia, and I want you to know how much I, as well as your father and stepfather, appreciate it. You're the best daughter a mother could have, and this new little guy or girl is the luckiest baby in the world to have you as a big sister. Missing you already, Mom. Friday, October 31st, 9 p.m. I'm in shock. I really am. Not because my mom and my algebra teacher eloped. That's kind of actually romantic, if you ask me. No, it's the fact that my dad helped them do it. He actually defied his mother in like a big way. In fact, because all of this, I'm starting to think that maybe my dad isn't scared of Granmere after all. I think he just doesn't want to be bothered. I think he just feels that it's easier to go along than to fight her because fighting her is so messy and exhausting. But not this time. This time he put his foot down, and you can bet he's going to pay for it too. I may not ever get over this. I may have to readjust everything I've ever thought about him, kind of like when Luke Skywalker finds out that his dad is really Darth Vader, only like the opposite of that. Anyway, while Granmere was plotzing behind the baby Grand, I went up to Dad and I threw my arms around him and I was like, "You did it!" And he looked curiously at me and he said, "What do you sound so surprised?" Oops. Totally embarrassed, I said, "Oh, well, because, no, I don't know." "Well," I said, why do I have such a big mouth?" I thought about lying, but I think my dad must have realized what I was thinking because in a warning voice he said, "Mia." "Oh, okay," I said, grudgingly letting him go. "It's just that sometimes you give the appearance, just the appearance, mind you, of being like a little scared of Granmere." My dad reached out and wrapped an arm around my neck. He did this right in front of Liz Smith, who was getting up to follow everyone into the grand ballroom, and she smiled at us as though she thought it was sweet. "Mia," my dad said, "I'm not scared of my mother. She really isn't as bad as you think. She just needs proper handling." This was news to me. "Besides," my dad said, "do you really think I would ever let you down or your mother? I will always be there for you too." This was so nice, I actually got tears in my eyes for a minute, but it might have been the smoke from all the cigarettes. There were a lot of French people at this party. "Mia, I haven't really done so bad by you, have I?" my dad asked all of a sudden, and I was surprised by the question. "No, Dad, of course not. You've always been okay as parents." My dad just nodded. "I see." I could see that it hadn't been complimentary enough, so I added, "No, I mean it. Like, I really couldn't ask for better." I couldn't help adding, I could probably live without the princess thing, though." He looked as if he probably would have reached out and ruffled my hair if it hadn't been so full of mousse that his hand would stick to it. "Sorry about that," he said. "But do you really think you'd be happy, Mia, just being Nancy Normal, a teenager?" Yes. Except I wouldn't want my name to be Nancy. We might have gone on to have a really profound moment that I could have written about in my English journal if Vigo hadn't hurried up just then. He looked frazzled, and why not? His wedding was turning out to be a disaster. First, the bride and groom neglected to show up, and now the hostess, the Princess Dowager, had locked herself into a hotel suite and would not come out. "What do you mean she won't come out?" my father demanded. Just what I said, Your Highness." Vigo looked like he was about to start crying. "I've never seen her so angry. She says she's been betrayed by her own family and she'll never be able to show her face in public again. The shame is so great." My dad looked heavenward. "All right, let's go," he said. And then we got to the door of the penthouse suite and my dad signaled for Vigo and me to be quiet. And then he knocked on the door. "Mother," he called. "Mother, it is Philippe. May I please come in?" No response, but I could tell she was in there. I could hear Rommel moaning softly. "Mother." my dad said. He tried turning the door handle and found it locked, and this caused him to sigh very deeply. Well, you could see why. He had already spent the better part of the day thwarting all of her well-laid plans. It had to have been exhausting, and now he had to deal with this. "Mother," he said, "I want you to open this door." Still no response. "Mother," my father said, "you're being ridiculous. I want you to open the door this instant. If you don't do it, I shall fetch the housekeeper and have her open it for me. You're trying to force me to resort to this. Is that what you want me to do?" I knew that Granmere would sooner let us see her without makeup than ever allow a member of the hotel staff to be privy to one of our family squabbles. So I laid a hand on my dad's arm and I whispered, "Let me try, Dad." My father shrugged, and with a sort of, "well, if you want to" look, he stepped aside, and I called through the door, "Hey, Granmere, Granmere, it's me, Mia." I didn't know what I expected, certainly not for her to open the door. I mean, if she wouldn't do it for Vigo, who she seemed to adore, for her own son, who, if she didn't adore, was at least her only child, why was she going to do it for me? But I was greeted only with silence from behind that door, except for Romel's continued whining. But I refused to be daunted. However, I raised my voice and I said, "I'm really sorry about my mom and Mr. Gianni, Granmere, but you have to admit, I warned you that she didn't want this reading. Remember? I told you that she wanted something small. You might have realized that by the fact that there isn't a single person here who was actually invited by my mother. These are all your friends." Well, except for Mama and Papa and Mr. G's parents. But I mean, like, come on. My mom doesn't know Imelda Marcos, okay? And Barbara Bush. I mean, I'm sure she's a very nice lady, but she's definitely not one of my mom's close buddies. Still no response. "Granmere," I called through the door. "Look, I'm really surprised at you. I thought you were always teaching me that a princess had to be strong. I thought you said that a princess, no matter what kind of adversity she's facing, has to put on a brave face and not hide behind her wealth and privilege. But that's exactly what you're doing right now. Shouldn't you be down there pretending this is exactly the way you planned for things to go and raise a glass to the happy couple in absentia?" I jumped back as the doorknob to my grandmother's suite slowly turned, and a second later, Granmere came out, a vision in purple velvet and a diamond tiara. She said, with a great deal of dignity, "I had every intention of returning to the party. I merely came here to refresh my lipstick." My dad and I exchanged glances. "Sure, Granmere," I said. "Whatever you say." "A princess," Granmere said, closing the door to her suite, "never leaves her guests unattended." "Okay," I said. "So what are you two doing here?" Granmere glared at me and Dad. We were checking on you," I explained. "I see." And then Granmere did a surprising thing. She slipped her hand through the crook of my elbow, and then without looking at my dad, she said, "Come along." I saw my dad roll his eyes at this blatant diss, but he didn't look scared, not the way that I would have been. "Hold on, Granmere," I said, and then I slipped my hand through the crook of my dad's elbow, so the three of us were standing in the hallway linked by me. Granmere just sniffed and didn't say anything, but my dad smiled. And you know what? I'm not sure, but I think this might actually have been a profound moment for all three of us. All right, well, at least for me, anyway. It's very cute. For those keeping track, we are at 88%. 88%. And it is very cute. And it appears that the Giannis have run off to get married in Cancun. That's fun. And what else? That is the whole kit and caboodle. I'm not sure if I'm glad they eloped too. Hopefully, and I don't remember, but like hopefully this means she can sneak out in time to go to Rocky Horror. I can't remember, but here's hoping. I might be on live tonight. I will be posting something. Today was like a backup day for Roll for Slime, so I'll see if anybody is in need and we'll get those done. That's pretty much it. That is the whole kit and caboodle, as it were. Excuse me, I have the hiccups always. So anyway, just a reminder that next week book club might be on YouTube. We don't know. We'll see. If I open up the app one day and it won't load, I'll go to YouTube. That's pretty much, I mean, like, right? Like, I don't know what else to say. If I open the app and it doesn't work, I'll jump over on YouTube. That's kind of it. Cool. All right. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.